Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
Appreciate you subscribing to Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. More information, rickenfinancial.com. My name is Mark Owens, Jerry Ricken, Heidi Ricken Provost. How are y'all doing?
Super, Mark. How about you, buddy?
Absolutely fantastic, Mark. How are you today?
It's so good to hear y'all's voices. Hey, Jerry, you're looking nice.
Well, thank you.
Got a nice little tan going on.
People don't say
Everybody
that
seems to be asking you the same. They're asking the same question over and over again. What's that question everybody keeps wanting to know, Jerry?
Well, Mark, I'm not sure if it's my, just my experience in the business or my gray hair, but people say, "Hey, Jerry, are you retiring soon? When are you going to retire? What about? Have you had retirement thoughts?" So people, I guess, love Heidi. Which is expected, which is absolutely expected. But they're all asking me when I'm going to retire, if I'm going to retire, what I'm going to do in retirement, all those kinds of things. And the answer is, well, I'm not retiring anytime soon. So you're stuck with me.
Mm-hmm. This is true. Okay. A lot of people actually have been asking this question lately. Like, we talk so much about retirement. When's Jerry going to retire? And the beautiful thing is he has a tan right now because he got to go on vacation with mom and enjoy a week in some sunshine. So he doesn't hold back from enjoying those moments that he would probably be enjoying in retirement too, because he enjoys working too. And because he can take a week away here and there, I don't think it's on our horizon anytime soon.
No, it's certainly not on my horizon. Mark, we talk about the go-go years of retirement, and those are the years in which you retire, you go out and do things, you can do things, you feel like doing things, you go travel, you go do all those kinds of things. Well, I'm having those go-go years while I'm working. So, Heidi says, hey, why don't you take a day, take a week, take a few days, do whatever. So I'm doing that, and it's a lot of fun because what I don't do is walk away from the business, because our clients mean a lot to us, and what we love to do is help our clients, and that's what really feeds my soul.
Well, and I think a prospect I met with, he really said it best. He's a teacher, and he said, I don't really have this specific timeline in mind for when I want to retire because I love what I do, number one. But number two, his wife is also a teacher, and he said, we've gotten to enjoy 7 years of retirement during our working years. So I don't feel like I have this need to hang it up and retire one day because we've gotten to enjoy the time along the way. So I think that's a beautiful thing that my parents have done in the past few years too, is taking the time together so that they get to enjoy it along the way instead of, I don't know. I think the reason why it's come up a lot too is because a lot of people keep talking to us about how they work so hard they want to retire early one day. And since that's always on their minds, maybe they're like, wait, why is Jerry still working? Why wouldn't he want to retire at 45 or 50 or whatever? But when you do what you love like this, it doesn't feel like hard work.
I truly believe that when you work hard, you need to play hard. But in order to work hard, you need to be refueled. So you take those breaks, you spend some time away from the office, away from all the distractions, away from your cell phone that's constantly buzzing, and all those, just get rid of all that for a while and refuel. And when you refuel, you come back and you're even more energized, just like I am today.
And I don't know how I'm energized, but I think it's probably because tax season's over. So I have a couple more hours in my day now. And
just a couple.
Paid Uncle Sam myself. So we're good to go now. But yeah, I think it is kind of crazy. Everyone across the board is asking us, when's Jerry retiring? Is he retiring anytime soon? But I think it's because it's really been forefront in almost every conversation we've had lately, that everyone we're meeting with, primarily, because, not everyone has the same idea. Most of the people we're meeting with want to retire early. And by early, I mean, this week, I had a conversation with someone who said, I work really hard and I enjoy what I do, but it's really, really hard work and I want to retire by 45.
Wow.
That's a lofty goal. It's potentially achievable. We're going to be making some steps so that it is achievable for her. But she wants to retire at 45. Another conversation I had in the last 2 weeks, this couple said, we're just burnt out in what we're doing. And with what they're doing, I believe it. Pharmaceutical research during COVID times was trying for, one member of this couple. And they said, we want to retire by like 50, 55. And another couple said, I don't know, 55 is a hard stop. We need to be fully retired by then and enjoying our lives. Everyone has a different idea of what their longevity is going to be. Some people think that, they need to enjoy time while they have it. But a lot of people lately have said 50, 55, hard stopping point. I want to be done with work. I'm working really, really hard so that I don't have to work beyond that point.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot with the younger millennials, especially the younger millennials that 50, 55 are the two that I've heard in the last 2 weeks.
I have some worries for every single human that has said that to us lately, because all of those people who have that goal in mind are saving right now only in their Roth or traditional 401ks and IRAs.
Dun, 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 dun.
They don't have savings beyond that. And guess what happens in those accounts?
Taxation.
You can't touch them without a tax penalty before 59 and a half. So if that's your goal, that's perfectly fine. That's awesome. Let's work to that goal. But you can't have all your eggs in that 401k, 403b, IRA, Roth, or traditional, either or bucket. We got to have something outside of that so that you have something to live on before you hit 59 and a half.
Taxes are difficult to pay, but tax penalties are really not fun to pay.
Oh, no, not at all. That's why, a lot of people say, being self-employed, how do I know how much estimated tax payments to pay, blah, blah, blah. And my answer is always, we're going to pay as much as you have to so that you never pay any penalties for not paying enough in. Because I believe in paying our fair share in taxes. I will always believe in paying our fair share. I will never believe or justify any tax penalties that are unnecessary. 99% of tax penalties
are very avoidable.
Are avoidable.
Yep.
So they are unnecessary.
You just have to plan for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Put the plan in place.
That creates some forward action and thinking instead of just reacting and thinking, all right, I'm ready today. Say I'm 48 years old today and I'm ready to retire by 50 and now I want to start planning. You have to plan before that. That doesn't mean that you have to save more than you're saving right now. You just may have to save it in different ways.
That's right.
So you're going to need some individual brokerage accounts to invest for the future, or maybe you do a form of the tax-free retirement plan that we've talked about before, where you can use life insurance for tax-free income in the future. But no matter what you do, if your goal is to retire before age 59 and a half, you need to make sure that some of those eggs are in a basket that is not tied to any form of qualified funds, like Roth and traditional IRAs.
Right. And if we're talking about someone wanting to retire at 55, we just need to get them to the finish line at 59 and a half before you can tap into those other resources that are not penalized. So it doesn't take a lot of planning, but it takes effective planning, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it just starts with a conversation. If we know what your goal is, we can always help you meet and achieve and maybe even succeed beyond your goal. But without having that conversation and having a little bit of time to plan, we're not going to be able to help you get there. So worst case scenario, the beautiful thing is these conversations we've had in the past few weeks with these prospects and clients, they have plenty of time to plan for it. We're talking 30, 35, 38 years old is how old they are. So we have time to plan for this. But if we're having that conversation too late, then what happens? Say all of your money is in Roth form. That's beautiful for taxation for the future after age 59 and a half. But if you have to touch the money before that, you're going to have to pay a 10% tax penalty and taxation on the growth in those funds for having to touch it early.
So this week here on Kickin' with the Rickens, we're talking about some of the pros and cons about retiring early. And it's a pretty big conversation that you're having with a lot of the families that you serve right now. So let's get deeper into that. What are some of the, because it sounds great, man, retiring at 55, 60, 62. That sounds amazing. But Heidi, there are some cons behind that, especially with like healthcare.
Oh, absolutely. We mentioned the con that you might be subject to some of those tax penalties and you want to make sure you can avoid those. But you also have to plan for health insurance, because if you don't have that written into a retirement plan from your employer, which most people don't have benefits in retirement from their employer, you got to wait a few years until Medicare kicks in.
But that is probably, Mark, the biggest hurdle when you're retiring before age 65 is how do you cover your whole healthcare medications, hospitalizations, doctor visits, anything that could potentially happen to you. And we, hope and pray that we're all going to be healthy, but we know that God has different plans for us. Sometimes we have little aches, pains, other issues that come along, and we need coverage for that. So one of the things that we always focus on is, if you're going to do that, let's make sure that we have a plan to execute so that you're not surprised by anything that comes along with respect to healthcare, because we don't want surprises. Nobody likes surprises. I hate surprise birthday parties, by the way. I've had 2 of them in my life, and I said, let's not do that ever again. So
you're welcome, because that was thrown out when you turned 65, and I'm like, he hates that.
No, we're not doing that. That ship sailed. So, but we don't ever like surprises. So what we do is we try to uncover each stone and make sure that there's nothing lurking underneath there. There's not a snake that's going to come out.
Well, and if you're 58, 59, 60 right now, and you want to retire a couple years early, we know how to plan for the health insurance right now. It's going to cost you probably somewhere around $1,000 per person per month in healthcare premiums for coverage as the healthcare system's written right now. If you're 35 having this conversation with me saying, I want to retire at 55, let's talk about health insurance when we get closer to that, because who knows what the future has in store in our healthcare in this country.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, other countries have socialized their medicine. This country may eventually do that. We don't know. Nobody knows. That's a ever-changing system and a broken system, obviously, with respect to what's going on with Medicare and Medicaid right now. But even in the whole world of insurance, we don't know what that's really going to look like if we have that far in advance to plan. But we will plan for it.
And the other thing is, since we know right now it costs about $1,000 per person per month in premiums for, say, that 5-year age gap before 65. So if you retire at 60, each year leading up to that, we need at least $12,000 per person to cover healthcare premiums. We're going to plan for at least that amount of cost. If you're 35 right now talking to me about retiring at 55, let's cover that for 10 years, because worst case scenario, we might have some help in the future, but you saved for something you won't have to spend money on, hopefully. But we want to have that plan in place.
And our taxes may be also not the help, but the hindrance to pay for that help. Yeah. Because someone has to pay for these benefits if we're going to go in that route. So that's another thing we always need to be looking at everything holistically and not just one isolated piece. So that's why we look at, if you wanted to retire at 55, sure, let's develop a plan, but there are a lot of elements that go into that plan that you may not necessarily think about today.
And the other thing is, if you're healthy and retiring at 55, you might be working out more and doing more things to take care of your mental health. If you had a very mentally challenging, stressful job, you might be able to have a little bit healthier retirement for those first 10 years, and you might not need as much healthcare coverage if you have the wealth of time and less stress in your life. So, that might factor into it too. But
and some people have come to us and said, I just need to get out of what I'm doing at 55 or at 60. So then they go to work at Home Depot. They go to work at someplace else. They maybe get benefits. They may work even part-time and get some benefits at some of those institutions, or they may just do it to pay the premium, so it becomes a hybrid retirement so that you're just earning enough money to pay for that additional cost that may have been more than you thought, more than you planned for.
But, Mark, you asked, what are the cons of retiring early? There are way more pros. If it's in your sights, we can help you get there, and you can manage all of these cons.
I mean, the biggest thing is, what am I going to do? If you're retiring early, you probably have a good idea of what you're going to do.
Yeah, you want to retire so you can do it.
That's right.
Do a whole lot of nothing is what it is. Do a whole lot of spending more time with the grandkids. Do a whole lot of spending more time at the beach, getting a tan like Jerry Ricken has this week.
Baby.
Hey, you can always get more when you visit rickenfinancial.com. But yeah, as they were talking about, there are pros and there are cons to retiring early, but it can be done with the right strategy. It all begins with the conversation. So get more from the team, see the location, meet the entire team. And you can also schedule that consultation when you visit rickenfinancial.com. As we always do before we get out of here, finish this sentence: every day
is a holiday.
That's for sure.
Life is short.
Laugh hard.
rickenfinancial.com. Thanks for listening. This has been Kicking with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.